Okay, guys. All right, guys. We're going to put this issue to rest. Game Theory made a video on Did Dream Cheat? I have my calc textbook here. I'm actually an expert in the field of linear mathematics. So we're going to go ahead and see if
For
Game Theory
speedrunning
is telling the
Minecraft
truth.
1.16 is 14 minutes, 39 seconds, and 520 milliseconds.
Okay.
Milliseconds! That is how granular.
All right, so the big under 15-minute time, people think Dream cheated just to get under that 15-minute mark, which is so coveted in the Minecraft speedrunning world.
We're
But
getting here, people.
we
And
will
that
see.
should show you that Minecraft speedruns are a serious business, which is probably why a Minecraft speedrunning controversy set the internet on fire all throughout December. Because what better
I don't think the speedrunning controversy set the internet on fire, because who cares? It's Minecraft speedrunning. It's the fact that it's such a high-profile guy that did it. If it was if it was me, who may have cheated in a Minecraft speedrun, no one would have cared. But this is a guy who is gained an unfathomable amount of subscribers in such a small amount of time. So people want to know what's
better way
going
to
on.
capstone a year full of crazy headlines than people taking the world's most relaxing game and turning it into a war zone. Dream SMP excluded, of course. That thing is always a
if you
war
could
zone in the
speedrun
best way
CS:GO.
possible. But
I
let's
could
just
do
say when the
that.
Minecraft speedrunning team puts together a 29-page paper claiming that Dream cheated while speedrunning Minecraft, and Dream in turn hired
20. How long's the average doctoral thesis? Who sat down to write a 29-page dissertation on why this stick figure man may or may not have cheated in a video game
as an anonymous
speedrun?
astrophysicist to offer a
We live in
19-page
truly
rebuttal,
crazy
all of it
times.
dealing with sampling bias and binomial distribution and computer modeling and statistics. It's kind of a big deal. When people are busting out latex, you know it's serious. I'm glad that maybe one of you got that reference. For everyone else, I'm not talking about like latex plastic. I'm
This
talking
is
about
math.
latex
I
8
know
document
this.
preparation software that allows academics to get all those weird mathematical symbols into their docs. Because if you've ever tried to use Word, it don't work. So why then am I here? Well, honestly, I wasn't sure I wanted to cover this. I don't want to insert myself needless.
I do. I definitely want to insert myself into this because it'll get me lots of views. Also, it gives me a chance to show off my linear algebra and probability quantum data
And drama. Also, this
skills.
is Future Matt Pat dropping in. We're finalizing this episode now to release in about a week.
Let's
But
get to the math. Come
takeaways
on.
and all of this,
P
which
hat.
I'll
All right,
get
here
to
we go.
later in the script. Anyway, just wanted to drop in, let
Never
you know
mind.
that I recognize this is coming way late, and I think this video, especially the conclusion,
All right.
charity live stream last year. Plus, I really
Okay. All right. So Matt Pat's friends with Dreams. There's a conflict of interest. The newsman is friends with the guy he's covering in the news. Bogus.
complex in a way that's
fake
pretty
news.
difficult to understand if you're not comfortable with math. And honestly, that's the foundational
I am very
reason
comfortable
I
with
created
math.
game theory. This show was originally designed to be a
I don't care about you, Matt Pat.
I'm not trying to attack anyone. This is purely meant for education. We're
Okay.
starting from the beginning. Dream is a Minecraft speedrunner.
Yes,
Wait,
I know.
Dream at various points in the history
I
of
know.
the record by 16 seconds.
All
It was
right, here we
beaten
go.
several days later, so Dream came back to reclaim the crown with a time of 26 minutes and 44 seconds. In June, he once
I
again...
actually don't care about this either. All right, so
0.16. That's the one with the nether.
Matt Pat needs to get his ad revenue, so he basically stretched this to 23 minutes. I just want to like look at the Piglin RNG math, man. Come on. Come on, where's the Piglin RNG? Here we go.
Yielded ender pearls, and 211 of the 305 killed blazes dropped blaze rods. This means that
Put
for
that in
this
the cal-
specific
let me
set
get
of
the
speedruns,
calculator, hold
Dream
on.
had an ender pearl barter success rate of 16%, when the actual rate
Here we
is
go.
actually much closer to 4.7%, and a blaze rod
Right.
drop rate of 69.2%, when
Nice.
actual drop rate is 50. That might
Hold on,
not
let me
seem like a
comment
big
nice.
deal. After all, a 16% drop rate is obviously higher than 4.7, but are the numbers really that different to
nice.
merit a cheating investigation? I mean, these are random events after
All right,
all.
back to
Sometimes
the
you just
video.
get lucky. Well, to illustrate this, pop quiz time. Which is more likely? Flipping a coin
Okay.
10 times and getting heads at least 7 times, or flipping a coin 100 times and getting heads at least 60 times?
Okay, let me do the math. So that's 0.7 for the first one and 0.6. So
Pause the video if you need to think about it. Scroll down to the comment section to post your answer. And while you're down there, consider subscribing. It's that red button right there under the video. It's really satisfying to click. And I cover a lot of Minecraft lore. In fact, I've probably put more lore into this game than Mojang has. Anyway, y'all ready with your answer? Great. Here it is. Your chance of flipping a coin 10 times and getting heads 7 or more times is 17%. Your chance of flipping a coin 100 times and getting heads 60 or more times is 2.84%. Yeah, it is.
Alright, so... Okay.
Way less likely. Now, that result might seem counterintuitive at first, but as your dataset gets larger and larger, the more likely it is to reflect the true odds, which, when you're talking about coin flips, is 50-50. You want an even more extreme example? Your chances of flipping a coin 10 times and getting heads 8 or more times, 5.4...
Oh, he's got the Sacagawea coins falling. I wonder if his editor knew that. That was the old Sacagawea gold coins. I have a couple of those.
7% are actually significantly higher than your chances of flipping that same coin 10,000 times and getting heads 51% or more. All you're talking is 5,100 times, 100 over half. The probability of that one happening is 2.32%. At a glance, you might say, hey, 51% odds. That's only 1% away from 50. Why would it be so improbable? But this is a phenomenon that's described in statistics as regression towards the mean, or sometimes reversion to mediocrity, which is how I like to describe most of the content on the YouTube trending tab. Oh, get dunked on YouTube trending tab! Watch, this episode is going to wind up on the YouTube trending tab. So how does this all apply to Minecraft? Well, for example, you only have a 4.7% chance of getting an ender pearl from a piglin barter. You might get lucky and get an ender pearl after, say, 4 attempts, leaving you with a 25% drop rate, but the more times you try, the closer and closer you should be getting to the true drop rate of 4.7%. And when you're talking about over 20 hours of live streams and hundreds of barter attempts, you'd expect the number to be pretty much closer to that expected value, which, and I'm just gonna call this fact out, means that if cheating was involved in this situation, it was the fact that Dream showed his work that got him flagged. It wasn't the individual record-setting run itself that set off the alarms, it was that plus all the other 20 plus hours of run attempts aired online around it. An individual run wouldn't have had enough drops to show any sort of...
Yeah, if Dream's doing a bunch of runs and one of them just has an insanely higher drop rate than all the others he's done, then sus alarm, lunk alarm, this guy's a little
tampering or bias. Man. In other words, if there was cheating involved, and this was just an individual run that happened offline, completely removed from any context, and then was submitted for consideration, none of this would have happened. There'd be no way to verify the validity of the run, unless, of course, I'm missing something here. Just thought it was an interesting loophole that this whole situation brought up that probably should be closed up.
Yeah, Dream kind of Reynolds pamphleted himself by being like, no, here's why I didn't cheat. And then people are looking into that and they're like, well, wait a minute, no, that doesn't add up.
Now, let's think about an extreme example of luck. Winning the lottery. The chance of you buying a lottery
takes just going to explain probability
higher than normal. So to combat the bias, what everyone has been calculating and arguing about in their massive research papers are the odds of drops this lucky happening. Not specifically to Dream, but to literally any Minecraft player in existence. You know the old saying about how if a monkey is hitting keys at random on a typewriter for an infinite amount of time, it'll eventually write the complete works of Shakespeare? It's based on the idea that something super improbable will almost surely happen given enough time and enough attempts. And it's an actual theory.
Sans is Ness. I don't care what you say. It's the truth.
A statistical theory called the infinite monkey theorem. Anyway, same thing applies here. Dream's luck was extreme, but how extreme was it? Both the Minecraft speedrunning team and the anonymous astrophysicist that Dream hired to write a rebuttal have submitted their numbers, but people seem to be getting those numbers confused. To directly quote from the original report, the Minecraft speedrunning team presented a number of 1 in 7.5 trillion.
Yeah,
well,
that's if you go into the comments of any of Dream's videos, or if you argue about this with someone, which I have many times because I'm a math, 1 in 7.5 trillion, that's the thing they keep bringing up. He had a 1 in 7.5 trillion chance of completing the speed run in this way, and I think that's a misleading statistic, because any speed run is going to be completely unique. Technically, there's a 1 in infinity chance of it turning out a certain way. So, but we'll see why this particular 1 in 7.5 trillion is especially alarming, because I think it has to do with piglin trades.
Number is them basically saying, hey, let's assume that there are 1,000 Minecraft speedrunner monkeys at 1,000 keyboards. There's still only a 1 in 7.5 trillion chance of recreating the luck that we saw on Dream's streams. Conversely, Dream's astrophysicists determined the odds to be 1 in 100 million. The number 1 in 10 million gets thrown around a lot from Dream's rebuttal, but that's actually a different number. Comparing the two is actually like comparing apples to oranges. If you're looking for the best comparison, it's the speedrunning team's 1 in 7.5 trillion versus the astrophysicists' 1 in 100 million. But still, that leaves us with a massive difference in calculations. Why?
Yeah, 1 in 100 million might seem like unfathomably like a really small chance, but really when you think of all the different possible outcomes in a Minecraft speedrun, 1 in 100 million is actually like good odds. Like it's realistic. You could have 1 in 100 million luck. 1 in 7.5 trillion, that is unfathomable past the human. You can't even visualize. Well, it was 7.5 trillion. There are only 7 million people on Earth.
It isn't something that has one big answer, but instead a lot of smaller answers, which, is why these arguments are happening in 20-plus page documents. It includes things like differences in the application of the stopping criterion, different estimates for the that last one, p-hacking, but as
okay, so they got these probability numbers, 7.5 trillion, 100 million, by multiplying the probabilities of each individual thing happening that he got to. So let's say, for example, he found an end portal really quickly. Let's say there's a 1 in 10 chance of him finding the end portal where he found it, and then there's a 1 in 50 chance of him getting the ender pearl trade from the piglin. Multiply that by another 1 in 50 chance of him getting another one. If you multiply all these, you get these big crazy numbers. So that's kind of misleading.
It's a lot,
in my
much
opinion.
more than I actually want to get into here. If you want to get into the nitty-gritty of it, I highly recommend Mathemaniac's video breaking down all the arguments point by point from a mathematical, deeply statistical perspective. Good job, Mathemaniac. Keep doing the good work. But all of this, I just hope, illustrates the wider point here, that this is a complex topic with a lot of different questions to consider, all using numbers that, at the very best, are rough estimates that are very flexible.
Yes.
Which leads us to the last point I want to talk about, p-hacking bias. P-hacking is sometimes also referred to as data dredging. It's basically the practice of looking for patterns and selectively presenting data to come to a conclusion. It's practically the principle that this channel was founded on. For instance, look at our Mario is Mental series of episodes from way back in the channel's history. In these episodes, I look through hundreds of Mario games to present you, the viewer, with selected data points to lead you to the conclusion that, yeah, Mario is indeed a sociopath. And to get there, I ignore decades of him acting heroically and selflessly to save the Mushroom Kingdom. Though, to be honest, this is actually to this day one of the theories that I still believe. I just can't ignore the fact that Mario whips DK in his early games, or he grinds Luigi.
Well, here's the thing. The 26-page report, it pretty much covers everything. It doesn't leave much room for selective bias, because how many aspects of the speedrun could you possibly cover? It's a 15-minute speedrun. Like, you're gonna, in a 26-page report, you are going to cover all aspects of it and not leave anything out. So as far as only choosing certain data points to harp on, I don't think they really did that. I think the speedrunners who came up with the 1 in 7.5 trillion figure, they covered all aspects of the run to do that. Unless there were some kind of external circumstances that they didn't cover.
G's foot when he wins in the tennis match. Anyway, this process is sometimes described as post-dicting. You get it? It's the opposite of pre-dicting. Instead of coming up with a hypothesis and then doing an experiment that confirms the hypothesis, you start with a pile of data, and then you use the data to come up with a hypothesis to explain it after the fact. So how does this apply to our Minecraft speedrunning controversy? Well, in any game of Minecraft, there are lots of sources of randomness, but thus far we've only been looking at two: pearl trades and blaze rod drops. But what about other sources of luck, like the frequency of blaze spawns or the number of piglins that you're actually able to barter with? These are all random too. Just because two variables happen to be higher than you'd expect.
Nice.
How do we know that we're not just selectively choosing the data to come to the conclusion that cheating happened? Well, it all depends on the number of variables. If there are only 10 factors to consider and 2 are unusual, well then yeah, it's hard to deny that.
Well, let's think of all the factors in a Minecraft speedrun. You gotta punch wood, you gotta dig to find diamonds, iron, like the chances of getting into a cave, finding some good ores, that's all things you have to factor in. And then, of course, finding a lava pit to get the obsidian. And then from there, getting the blaze rods and the ender pearls from the piglin trades. Before that, you need to get gold, which is almost impossible to find on its own. So yeah, a lot of random factors have to compound on top of one another. And yeah.
That something suspicious is going on. But if there are, say, 1,000 possible variables,
yes,
well, then it's very easy to cherry pick 2 of them and come up with a false correlation. In fact, there's a really fun website dedicated to exactly this. For instance, did you know that the declining divorce rates in Maine are actually tied to the decline in people eating margarine?
Yes, correlation versus causation. Yes.
True, there's a 99% correlation between the data points. The chart doesn't lie, but obviously our conclusion does. Divorce and margarine are completely unrelated, unless of course marriages are suffering due to poor butter substitute choices. But when you're looking at a huge pool of data, you can come to practically any conclusion. And that's the other major point of contention between Dream and the speedrunning team. How many sources of RNG are there that could be manipulated as possible sources of cheating? How large is this pool of data? The Minecraft speedrunning team made a quote-unquote generous estimate of 10 different factors. There were...
Here, I just thought of a cool one. Every time I stream CSGO, there is an insurrection at the Capitol. So, me streaming CSGO causes insurrections at the Capitol. That would be a fallacy of mixing up correlation and causation, unless it isn't.
Words not mine. Dream claimed it was closer to 37. And honestly, the frustrating thing about this is that there's really no clear-cut answer, because it's not just about how many variables there are, but also how measurable those variables are. I bring all of this up, 1, to explain it a bit more clearly, and 2, to point out that some of these calculations and differences between the numbers are based on numbers coming from assumptions that can feel kind of arbitrary, and that's where there's room for debate here. But all of this, for as great as it is to talk about statistics, I think is missing the point. Yes, it is essential to uphold integrity on speedrun boards. 100% absolutely super important. But are we?
It's a lot easier to find cheaters in other speedrunnable games that are more simple, like an older Mario game. You can like see if someone's cheating, because there are only a couple places where someone could cheat. But Minecraft, the worlds are so vast and there are so many factors that you don't really know if it's just insanely good luck or a very, very subtle cheat, like a mod that makes gold ores just spawn a little bit more in caves, or something of that nature. It makes piglins spawn just a little bit more. Like you could tweak those things and no one would notice. So it's really hard to tell if it's just good luck or cheating.
Be sure that this is a game that should have a speedrun board in the first place.
Yes.
For all the back and forth on this topic, one thing that's not in dispute here is the dependence of luck in Minecraft 1.16 speedrunning. Well, the Nether update was much beloved by many Minecraft players outside of the speedrunning community, myself included, given the huge amount of theory fodder that it added to the game.
Yeah,
the speedrunning community hasn't exactly welcomed it with open arms, and it's led to a bit of a divide, with Minecraft 1.16 considered...
I mean, having the piglins there to trade, that completely changed speedrunning, because you need those ender pearls and blade rods. You need to get to the end so you can kill the ender dragon so you can beat the game. But now the way you harvested those ender pearls and blade rods, it's completely changed. You have to rely on piglin RNG. So it does make sense to get ahead. A speedrunner would, if you were to cheat on a 1.16 speedrun, you would be tweaking the piglin RNG, because that's now the most important thing.
So different from previous versions as to warrant its own leaderboard. The update substantially changes the amount of time.
I'm gonna put my conclusion here. I think this is just Matt Pat's conclusion. Speedruns should be skill based. The people who are best at the game should be able to complete it the fastest, like Lego Star Wars, which I will be speedrunning on this channel hopefully soon. But with Minecraft 1.16 speedruns, it's completely random. It's based on luck. I mean, I could do it, and if I have insane luck, then I would have a better time than some of the extremely skilled speedrunners who just have bad luck on the piglin trades. So Minecraft is not a game you should speedrun. I get it, it's popular. Everyone likes speedrunning popular games. But the whole point of Minecraft is that there is no ending. There is no end. Like, Notch, when he created Minecraft, he didn't want it to end when you defeat the Ender Dragon. Like, when you defeat the Ender Dragon, it's not roll credits, start a new world. It's you go back into it. You gain more materials, you perfect your building, and then maybe you go into creative mode and build even more things. Minecraft is a game that is designed to have no ending. So speedrunning it with the goal of getting to the end, it flies in the face of what the game should be all about. So that's all I'm going to say about that. If there is a development on this front, I will be milking it for even more views.